In the 2016 Democratic primary, Debra Wasserman Shultz was head of the Democratic National Committee. Donna Brazile, the person who took over for Debra Wasserman Shultz when she was fired for being entirely corrupt, made the point that Debra Wasserman Shultz was a bad manager. A bad manager. Now, I am far more cynical than that, and I don't believe she was a bad manager. I believe Debra Wasserman Shultz was corrupt. She gave over the political edifice to the person who she wanted to win that election, meaning the money and the influence essentially flowed with this idea from New York, Clinton's headquarters. I didn't say it. Donna Brazile said it. Now, I say this to say this. That woman who screwed over Sanders and his supporters, because it's not just Sanders, it's the people who gave Sanders the $200 million that helped him outraise Hillary Clinton. It's the hopes, the dreams, all of those things that were stuffed all into one independent senator from Vermont as he went out there and was our avatar. As he was broken and his body was carried along the DNC and they threw apples and oranges and tomatoes at it like it was in ancient Rome. Our pain was to some degree Hillary Clinton's and that cabal, to some degree, their enjoyment, which made the loss and watching them weep and shatter on election day that much more sweet. You can make a strong case that the election of Donald Trump stems in some degree to the Democratic primary, because the Democratic primary was the real election. If Sanders won that election, Sanders would have beat the stuffing out of Donald Trump because the public wanted a radical option. And the radical option they chose was the guy who kicked puppies and ate babies. Fair enough. Can't do anything but the past. You move forward. That said, you remember the past and you hold a certain degree of animus in you, an indelible stain as you proceed. That person, that bad manager, as Donna Brazile was saying, or as I would say, that corrupt human being, lives down in Florida. And she is running a race in Florida against one Tim Canova. That's not him, I'm sorry. Is running a race against Tim Canova in Florida. There are polls that are showing that Tim Canova is statistically tied with Debra Wasserman Shultz. That would be revolutionary. Let me go to the article first, and we'll talk about it after. Debra Wasserman Shultz in danger of losing her seat. And before I get to that point, give me 1 second. Thing is, the fact that Tim Canova is close here is amazing. It's amazing. I mean, ultimately, he's run a race as an independent without taking corporate cash. Debra Wasserman Shultz, not so much. Now, who do you want representing you? Somebody that's flush with corporate cash, that would likely do the bidding of the people that are giving them that corporate cash. Because after all, the reason they're getting that cash is so they can affect the will of whoever's giving it to them. In Tim Canova's case, he's powered by human beings. He's powered by human beings. Let's take a look at the article. Debra Wasserman Shultz in danger of losing her seat? Now, the reason they're putting a question mark on it, because there's no way to know. The polling that's being used here as the basis for the article is an internal Republican poll. So there's no way to check the veracity of that poll. But the fact that the Republican Party is finding that these two people are close and that their candidate necessarily is not, and is releasing this, I'll go with it. Tim Canova has been running a damn good race in Florida. U.S. Representative, former DNC chair Debra Wasserman Shultz may be facing the political fight of her life to keep her career as U.S. House of Representative in Florida Congressional District, and neither the media, the pollsters, nor the partisan elite will see it coming. God, I want her to lose. I want her to lose to the same degree that I want Beto to win or Ted Cruz to lose. And I will bathe in her concession speech. I will run it on loop. I will go to bed listening to it each night and wake up with a smile each morning. I want her to lose. Am I making myself clear? Buoyed by Republicans, independents, and liberal Democrats who are disenchanted with business as usual politics in Washington that Debra Wasserman Shultz is coming to represent, independent candidate Tim Canova is in a statistical dead heat with Wasserman Shultz for an election day victory next week. That's according to a private GOP poll conducted by a candidate or donor. Republican sources who revealed the poll results to the press wouldn't say who, and no public official polls have been conducted for this race. It's a blind race. It's a completely blind race. The only poll that you got is the one that was conducted by this Republican. This is what Tim Canova said on the reason that he was running. Canova previously told IVN that his decision to switch from Democrat to Independent was influenced by the actions of the Broward County Supervisor of Elections and local and state Democratic parties. It reached a tipping point dealing with the ballot destruction from my previous primary against Wasserman Shultz. Canova wanted to challenge the result. He had a lot of people telling him that there was some fudgy numbers with the result. He wanted to challenge. It is his God-given constitutional right to do so. And he found that they had destroyed the ballots. That broke the law, federal and state law. They destroyed the ballots. They did it anyway. There wasn't any real consequences for that destruction. I don't blame him for leaving the party. We discovered during the course of the litigation of our efforts to inspect the ballots, the Broward County election completely destroyed all of the paper ballots while the litigation was pending in violation of federal law. When the party could not be bothered with investigating ballot destruction that had undermined people's faith and confidence in the integrity of the system, to me, it became intolerable. What do? You're going to sit there and bleed all day, or are you going to do something about it? To me, she was the epitome of why the party was failing. A corporate-funded incumbent supporting a trickle-down Wall Street agenda of corporate trade deals, payday lending, private prisons, and endless wars. I didn't leave the Democratic Party as much as it left me. It's much the same with the Republican Party. Both went so establishment in corporate America that they abandoned the American people. I consider that to be true. And to some degree, I consider that the same thing for me. If Tim Canova wins, this will be revolutionary. And it needs to be a heads up to lefties who are still caught in this idea of being the political abused spouse of the Democratic Party. The things that you want will never come to pass if you continually prop up the system that allowed those things to take place in the first place. Meaning, Tim Canova could have sat there and bled all day, whining to himself at home, complaining. But he didn't. He got up and he ran a race. This is one of the districts that is most likely that a Democrat, or in this case an independent, will win, and that the Republican chances of winning are little to none. But I got to be honest, I don't care if it's in districts where the person in the Democratic Party can lose. Neither should the lefty if they feel they were shafted in the race that they ran. If this took place in a district that's a contested district, that progressive should have went out and did the exact same thing that Tim Canova did. Otherwise, you are incentivizing them to do the same thing to you in the very next go round. What are you going to do? You're going to sit there and bleed all day? Or are you going to do something about it? Tim Canova decided to do something about it. And he went out and ran the race of his life. And it is possible that this corrupt woman who essentially helped get Hillary Clinton over the primaries and ensuring that Donald Trump would win the presidential election will lose the eradication, the vanquishing of a corporate stooge in place with somebody who has some level of integrity and values to represent Florida. My uncle is going to vote for this guy, Tim Canova. I'll end this here. I don't want this one to go long. I want this one to be quick, short, sweet, and to the point. We have people here. Guys, I'm going to talk to you guys afterwards. Oh, by the way, Wesley Walker asked about t-shirts. The merchandise still works. I think the link was broken, but you can get a t-shirt if you want one here. I have some new products actually. Maybe I don't. Damn. Yeah, the t-shirt thing still works. I'll end this here. If you guys enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe, and you can always support the content through PayPal or Patreon. Thanks all.